Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to show you how to create an Amazon Web Services S3 batch job. So you can use Amazon S3 batch operations to perform large-scale batch operations on Amazon S3 objects. You can execute a single operation on lists of Amazon S3 objects that you specify. A job is a basic unit of work. A job contains all the information necessary to execute the specific operations on a specific list of objects. Let's get started. So you're going to need an S3 bucket with some files in that bucket. I've got that, and it's called TechSnips UK, and I've got 5 test files in there. And I've also got a bucket which I'm going to use as a destination bucket. So in this video, I'm basically just going to copy those files to another bucket. So what's the first thing we need to do? Well, we need to get an inventory up and running. We need to go into our source bucket, which is TechSnips UK, go into Management, and then click on Inventory. You'll see we don't have an inventory defined at the moment, so we click on Add New, and we give the inventory a name. This inventory will be used by the batch operations for moving our files. We'll just select the TechSnips UK inventory as our destination, and we are going to take the default output format of CSV. S3 batch operations can use this particular format without having to modify it. Object versions, we're going to stay with the current version, and we're not going to use any of the older versions within that bucket. We can also specify optional fields, but we're going to go with the defaults for the purpose of this demonstration. Encryption, I'm selecting none at the moment, but it is available. So we'll click on Save. Now, 2 things happen. First, it tells you the inventory is successfully saved. It can take up to 48 hours to deliver the first report. Then you'll see the second thing that's happened is the bucket policy successfully created. This policy is applied to the destination bucket that will hold the inventory. So this just allows us to have the inventory file created and then written to the destination bucket. So if I go into our inventory bucket, you'll see some inventory files that I created earlier. And here's the file we're looking for. It's manifest.json. So to actually start a batch operation, we need to click on Create Job. It asks for the manifest format, so it's S3 inventory report, and then the path to that manifest. So let's have a look in our TechSnip inventory bucket, and we'll select the latest one we have. You can put an object version ID. This is for buckets with versioning enabled. For the purpose of this demonstration, we're not going to put an ID in. Now we come to the operations. So we can choose put, which is just basically a copy. We can invoke a Lambda function. We can replace the tags on the bucket. We can replace the access control list, or we can actually restore files. For our purposes, we're going to choose put. It's asking us the destination bucket. We'll select Browse, and we will select My TechSnip bucket. Okay, so I've received a warning, and it's basically that versioning is not enabled on the bucket. I'm not going to enable that at the moment. We don't need to for the purposes of this demonstration. We'll just click that we acknowledge the existing objects with the same name will be overwritten, which essentially means that if we run this 2 or 3 times, those files are going to be overwritten. Okay. Storage class, we'll choose standard for frequently accessed data. And encryption, again, I'm just going to choose none at the moment. You can use S3 manage encryption keys or KMS as well. Access control list, we're not going to change this. We will stay with the same permissions as our source object. And tags, we're going to copy the existing tags. We'll also choose the option to copy existing metadata. We need to give this a description. Again, we'll just leave this at the default. The priority, we can modify this after numerous batch jobs running, and you can assign them a priority. Then we have a completion report, which we'll request, and the scope of that will be on all tasks. So the destination, let's just put that in the inventory bucket. Now, permissions. we're going to use an IAM role, Identity Access Management role. I have defined one already called S3 batch role. Now, defining IAM roles is out with the scope of this particular video, but if we go to click on view, you'll see that this is basically just a simple role. I've called it S3 batch role. I've given it full access to S3. So we just click on next. So now we come to the review page. So it tells us the region and manifest. We're doing this in EU London. The path to the manifest. Now remember, the manifest is your inventory of files. The operation we want to carry out is going to be a put operation. So we're going to copy files to my TechSnip bucket. You'll then see we additional options. We requested a report after it, and the role we're going to use is S3 batch role. So we just click on create job, and there we have the job there. So we can go in, we can view the details of the job. This gives us this time the status, so you can see it's 0% complete, total succeeded 0. What we want to do now is confirm and run. See our job details now come up, and we click run job. So we go back to batch operations, and we just refresh. This should run just shortly. So there you'll see it's now complete, and there's been a total of 5 objects moved. You see it's 100% complete. The completion report is in our inventory bucket. So let's go back to our buckets, and let's have a look in the destination bucket. And there you see our 5 files have been moved. So if we go into our inventory bucket, you'll now see the job report. And now that we've downloaded that report, now you'll see that it's told us the file name, the bucket, and its status, which is successful. Thank you for watching this video.